At 14, somewhere across town, a kid is sitting at a kitchen table learning that money is a tool. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take it out. Time can turn ordinary dollars into freedom. At 22, you are staring at your first real paycheck and watching it disappear into rent, taxes, debt, food, gas, subscriptions, and the quiet pressure to look like you were doing better than you are. You were told a job would make you safe. But safety looks smaller on the screen than it did in your head. The painful part is not that you are broke, it is that nobody ever gave you the map. You grew up in a house where money was weather. It arrived, it changed the room, people adjusted, nobody explained the clouds. Some weeks your parents got quiet and everyone pretended not to feel the pressure shift. They did not hide the map because they wanted you lost. They did not have one either. They had instincts, good instincts, but instincts and a map are not the same thing in the dark. Then one sentence walks into your life and divides everything into two categories. You are 22, you have a job, maybe even a good one. In your house, that used to mean you made it. A steady paycheck with benefits was the destination, not the starting line. You pay bills on time, you save a little in account earning somewhere between nothing and insult. Then you hear it. Rich people buy assets. Everyone else buys liabilities they think are assets. You read it again. An asset puts money in your pocket when you are not working. A liability takes money out. Suddenly the new car, the nicer apartment, the wardrobe that says you have arrived, all look like costumes rented from the system. They give comfort, they give status, but they do not build freedom. So you make a quiet decision. You buy your first asset before your next liability. It is boring. It is private. Nobody claps. But something shifts. You are no longer just someone who earns and spends. You are someone who builds. But assets are only the first door. The second one is written in a language you were never taught. At 23, you stop seeing taxes as something that simply happens to your paycheck. You start seeing architecture. The tax code is structure. There are accounts that grow tax-free. There are ways to defer taxes. There are rules around depreciation, retirement accounts, business entities, and write-offs that punish the unaware and reward the literate. You do not become a tax attorney. That is not the point. The rules existed the whole time. You open an IRA. You learn what an S Corp is. You sit across from a CPA and realize the right person can translate the system. Taxes stop being a mysterious subtraction. They become a conversation between what the law requires and what the law allows. You are late to the language, but you are in the room now. And once you learn the language, you notice another problem. You are still standing in the wrong rooms. At 24, you look at your network and realize love and access are not the same thing. You have good friends, loyal friends. They matter. This is not about leaving them behind. But the kid from the other kitchen grew up around different conversations. Adults talked about deals, hiring, property, contacts, mistakes, leverage. By 22, they had a network they did not build on purpose. You have coworkers, relatives, old classmates, but most cannot change your career trajectory with one phone call. That is not a moral failure. It is a structural fact. So you start building access deliberately, a business meetup, a conference that stretches the credit card, a course full of people above your current altitude. You feel awkward. Good. Awkward is the sound of your old ceiling being touched from underneath. Network stops meaning friendship. It becomes infrastructure. One person can open a door, but one paycheck can still close your whole life. At 25, you understand what one income stream does to a nervous system. The job pays you. The job stops paying you. The structure shakes. That fear sits under everything. It makes you smaller in meetings. It makes you polite when you should negotiate. It makes bad situations feel safer than uncertainty. So you build the second thing, a skill you monetize on weekends, a digital product that takes 3 months to create and then lives without your daily attention. A brokerage account funded with $100 per month, then $200 per month. A piece of content that earns while you are doing something else. At first, the money is almost embarrassing, but the identity is the point. One income stream makes you dependent. 2 income streams change the math. 3 change the personality. You do not have wealth yet. You have options. The ability to say no, the ability to leave, the ability to take a risk without the floor disappearing. The second stream gives you air, but time decides. How much air becomes freedom. Then you meet the number that makes you angry. If you invest $500 per month, starting at 22, at an average market return of 10%, by 62, you have $2.9 million. If you wait until 32, same monthly amount, same endpoint, you have approximately $1.1 million. 10 years of not knowing the rules costs about $1.8 million. You stare at it, you do the math, you feel the room get smaller. Time is not money. Time is the multiplier. It turns ordinary discipline into numbers that look fake. Nobody has to be smarter than you. They only have to hear the conversation earlier. So you stop waiting for perfect conditions. There will always be an emergency, an upgrade, a reason to start next month. You open the account this week, you automate the transfer, you make the amount small enough to survive. Then you leave it alone. The machine does not need your drama. It needs time. And once the math makes you angry, you stop spending on the illusion of growth. By 26, you stop confusing spending on yourself with investing in yourself. A degree can be an investment. It can also be 4 years of debt wrapped in respectability. A $500 course can be a waste. It can also teach a skill the market pays for next month. A free book from the library can rearrange your life. So you audit yourself. Subscriptions you do not use. Credentials you want because they feel like progress. Purchases that make you feel improved without making you more capable. You become ruthless, not cruel, precise. You also start cleaning the emotional part. The anxiety before checking your account. The guilt when money accumulates. The old reflex to spend quickly because money never felt safe staying still. You track spending as data, not punishment. Slowly, the shame loses volume. You realize you are the asset, not your job, not your degree, your skills, reputation, network, and ability to create value. The system pays for capability. So you build capability. 10 years later, the changes no longer look like habits. They look like a different life. You are 32 now, 10 years since you found the map. The life is not perfect. A business did not work. A market correction made you nauseous. A relationship could not survive the version of you that stopped shrinking. Freedom has a cost, but the structure is different. You have a portfolio, not enough to make you famous, enough to make you harder to control. You have an emergency fund that is not an emergency. It is infrastructure. You have a network you planted by hand. You have a second stream, maybe a third. You have a language your family was never taught, spoken imperfectly, but well enough to enter rooms that once felt sealed. The person who had the map at 14 is not infinitely ahead. Some of them wasted the map. Some inherited capital without hunger. You have the map and the hunger. That combination changes the architecture. Then you face the question every first-generation builder eventually faces. What do you pass down? One day, there is another kitchen table. The child sits there, listening without knowing they are listening. You do not start by giving them money. Not first. You give them the conversation. You explain assets and liabilities. You let them see how a bank account works. You show them that taxes are a language, that time changes money, that one income stream is fragile, that money is data before it is emotion. You do not erase hunger. You do not worship struggle. You build culture. Capital without context can disappear. Culture compounds differently. It survives corrections. It survives bad years. It moves through a family before anyone knows to call it wealth. Your child will not know the 22-year-old version of you staring at a paycheck as it vanished. They will not know the sentence that split your life open. They will only know that the ceiling is gone. They will look up and assume the sky has always been this open. The machine does not stop. The system keeps moving. But this time, someone at your table knows how to read it.